Start. Hi everyone, Professor Bob Young here, and we have already talked about addition, subtraction, and multiplication of complex numbers. Now it's time to divide them. Division of complex numbers. So in the previous section, we showed an example involving what's called complex conjugates, and we foiled 6 plus 5i times 6 minus 5i, and remember, FOIL goes to Florida whenever this happens. So all you have to do is take the 6 times the 6, the first two terms. The last two terms, 5i times a negative 5i is minus 25i squared. Remembering that I squared is that number -1 in disguise. And you will get 36 plus 25 for the answer 61. So the product of a complex number and its conjugate is always a real number. And here's just another little rule there. Whenever you FOIL conjugates, what happens? But I'm not real interested in that one here. But this is used whenever you divide complex numbers. So it says write the quotient in standard form. So the conjugate will be your friend. So if you know the conjugate of 5 minus I in this first example, which I think you'll see is 5 plus I, look what happens when you multiply here. So the top, we're just going to FOIL because they're not conjugates, so we'll just write the F-O-I-L, and we've already talked about multiplying, so this should be nice. The bottom, FOIL goes to Florida, and what we end up with is the I squares again. You have to be careful here because this is 2 times -1, that wolf in sheep's clothing in the numerator. And in the denominator, we have 25 minus -1. So, that minus negative, those signs kill there to give you 26. Now, is this the answer in the bottom is the question. No. Descartes would roll over in his grave here if you left this answer 13 plus 13i over 26. 1, it reduces, and 2, it is not in standard form. So notice he takes the 26 and puts it underneath each term, which you're allowed to do whenever you add and subtract fractions. So we want to get it in that standard form, and as always, reduce. So 13 over 26 in both cases reduces to 1/2 plus 1/2 I. So be careful whenever you divide complex numbers. All right, let's try one more here. Write each quotient in standard form. Now, what if they just give you 3 over I? Now, remember, I by itself, you could put, if you wanted to write it in what? Standard form, you could put the real part in there. You could put 0 plus I. So its conjugate would be 0 minus I. Now, do we need the zeros? Not really. So be careful on ones like this that just try to slip you, something without a real part. And then notice here, we'll go ahead and multiply both numerator and denominator by -I. And again, the danger in this denominator minus a -1 in wolf in sheep's clothing. Which becomes a +1, so you end up with -3 over, and again, minus a -1 becomes a +1 down here, minus 3i over 1 is minus 3i, or if they write it in standard form, 0 minus 3i. So whenever you divide complex numbers, multiply by the conjugate of both numerator and denominator. Multiply by the conjugate of the denominator, both numerator and denominator. I'll get it out right there. So Bob Young signing off, another instructional video.